Hi, I'm Brooke, and I'm going to teach you how to implement bubble sort in Python. For context, bubble sort is a type of sorting algorithm, a method of sorting data which mimics data bubbling up to the surface. And by surface, I sort of just mean the length of whatever data type that we get as input. So if we were to start at the very beginning, with like this bit, this array, or this list of data, we start with a 6, 2, 8, 4, 10, and say we want to sort that in ascending order, so it will be like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. The first pass would give us just a general overview of what data we have. The second pass of data would switch, would start with the beginning still, and then switch the data types if the data type next to it is bigger than the one we're comparing it to. So for example, during the first pass here, we have 6, which is greater than 2. So in coding terms, I is greater than I plus 1, so we would switch the two of them. So in this first pass, we would switch 2 and 6, so we get that down here. And then we would have 6 and 8 up here, which is as we can see, it's reflected down here. And then we would also have 8 and 4 right here switched, because 4 is less than 8, so we want 8 to bubble up the surface. But basically, every pass we go through, we're switching the very next item with the item we have if it is bigger, or if it is smaller than the one before it. That way, all the big items will eventually bubble up to the top over here. Sweet. So to get started, the first thing we need to do is just define the function. So we want a bubble sort function, and we take in an array. And the first thing we'd want to do is actually set the length, because we're going to use the length of the array further down in our code, so we want to make sure we keep track of it, or just like have an easy way to access it. You don't have to do this, but it is like recommended. So set the length of the array to a variable n. And the next thing we have to do is first go through the array. So the entire length of the array, the first thing we need to do is just literally create a for loop that goes through the array. So easy enough for I and range of, and we can just reuse n up here because that's what we're going through. So something else we need to think of that's not very intuitive is to create a flag that essentially allows the function to terminate early if there's nothing left to sort. So if we were to go through the entire list and find that we didn't actually like switch anything, then we would jump out of this. We would jump out of this particular loop and go into check to see if it already sorted is true, and then break out. So let's see what that looks like. Basically, we set a variable that says like already sorted, and we set that to true. But since we're gonna do like more logic down here, so the more logic down here that actually switches both of the data points, we would just want to check it afterwards. So after we are done with going through all of the switching all the data points, essentially, we're going to check to see if already sorted is true, because we already went in here. We went through all the data types, and then we set it to true because we went in anyway. And then we're going to have some more logic right here that basically checks to see if like one bit of data is bigger than or less than the other. And then once that's done, we just need to see if already sorted is true. And we don't even need to say true, we can just say if already sorted, and then break. We could also just return the array, but we don't have to do that if we're already returning the array down here. yeah, so once we set this as sort of a flag, like after we go through and we're done sorting, we can just assume that it is true because we went through every data point, and we are now going to add some more logic to show that we switched every bit of data that needs to be switched. And to do that, unfortunately, we'll have to do a nested for loop. They're not very popular, but this is how we would do it. So we want to check in the range of something. And the particular range we're going to check is, since we're going through and switching each time, we want to go through the length of it, and then minus what we are already currently at. And then we want to also subtract 1 from it, because this will give us 1 less than what we already are on. That way we check through all of the bits of data, and we continue to go through the list sort of backwards. So we start from here, and then we check to see all the way through this bit of data until we hit the until we eventually reach this part where we are sure that this bit of data is less than this bit of data. And once we've checked that, then at the very end, then we're sure that the list has been sorted, and that's when we break out of this for loop. So yeah, so we have this for J in range of this kind of weird logic, and then we just need to literally check to see if the 2 bits of data that are next to each other are greater than or less than. So let's just check. So if array at J, let's say if it's like right here, is less than array at J plus 1. So if the current bit of data is less than the data next to it, then what we want to do is switch the values. So switch the values. And the way we do this, I showed this in another video, but there's an easy way to do that, which is just put the data sort of in parentheses, and then that will automatically switch. It's kind of like shorthand from switching 2 values at once. So it could be like array at J, and array at J plus 1. And then these are going to switch with these. So array at J will become array at J plus 1, and array at J plus 1 will become array at J, which is kind of cool. And then we would set it every time to already sort as false, because we're still checking to see if J is less than, we're still checking to see if any value is less than the value next to it. And if it is, and we're still like checking that, then we need to make sure that we set already sorted to false. So once it gets out of the if statement, it doesn't like check all the way back to, it doesn't go all the way back up here to already sorted and set it to true, and then like check right here and just like break out of the loop. So we have to set already sorted to false, so the algorithm doesn't like finish prematurely. And that's pretty much it. That should give us what we want. In short, we have a nice little flag here that checks to see if the array is sorted or not. We are going in with a nested for loop right here to essentially create the bubble logic that will check to see if the previous value is less than that value, setting this flag right here to make sure that we don't prematurely finish, and then just switching the elements right here inside of the if statement for our conditional. And if it is already sorted, then we break out, and then we return the array at its current state. Beautiful. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Bubble sort is very quick, it doesn't have the best runtime, but it is it's honestly just fun to implement in my opinion. And there are some situations where you would use this as one of your sorting methods. So let's do a couple of examples. Let's do just doing random numbers here. Put it in. I don't know why I don't just copy paste. I always forget. And I forgot the compass. And I just don't even look. There we go. Okay, that's good enough. Great, so when we run this, we should get... Ooh, it didn't work. Oh, oops. Okay, I put it as less than instead of greater than. Sorry about that. I put it because it sorted the other way instead of that's just a good note. It sorted descendingly instead of ascendingly. So we have we're supposed to put a greater than. We're checking to see if this is greater than the value. Then we switch. So like if this is 6 and this is 2, then we want to switch so that 2 is over here. Otherwise, we're doing it the other way. Okay, let's try that again. There we go. Okay. I put the greater than instead of less than. There we go. Now we have it actually bubbling up to the surface. And that is bubble sort. I just showed you accidentally how to do it ascendingly and descendingly. Hopefully this was helpful in the explanation for bubble sort. And let me know if there's anything that needs any clarifying. Okay, hope this is helpful. I'll see you.